So the question here is how to keep going when you feel like giving up, when you're discouraged.
There's only so many things you can control, and a lot of it has to do with things that you can't control.
A lot of pressure we put on ourselves because we think that the status quo isn't good enough, and so we constantly are putting pressure on ourselves to find a new angle, to find new growth, to find new opportunities.
So how to keep going when you're feeling discouraged or you feel like giving up is the most important thing that you can do in this situation is to be striving towards something. So if you have something that you are actually going after, you have a goal of some kind that you're trying to accomplish, then that is the thing that can actually bring you through those difficult times, because you know that, hey, if I make a video and if I put in this effort to make this content happen, that it's going to take me one step closer to getting whatever it is that I'm trying to accomplish on my YouTube channel.
You know, for me, it's getting back to the things that I'm most comfortable doing and that I enjoy doing. So sometimes we get looking at changing up too much. A lot of pressure we put on ourselves because we think that the status quo isn't good enough, and so we constantly are putting pressure on ourselves to find a new angle, to find new growth, to find new opportunities. But there's certain things that you do really well that are intrinsic to you. And maybe an idea is to go back to the type of video that you're really comfortable creating, that you do well. Even though you might have done it before in a different way, the audience out there is so massive that nobody's really going to notice that you're revisiting some sacred ground, some common ground, some comfort ground. So maybe if you're having trouble and you're getting discouraged in your production process, which we all do. I mean, we all reach different bumps in the road. But maybe just kind of go back to what you're best at and do it and remind yourself why you're good at it in the first place.
When I feel discouraged, how I keep going is I focus on my muse. So I focus on both my muse and my end result. My end result is the thing on the horizon that I'm working for, and the vanity metrics at the time that I'm feeling discouraged or anxious may not even be involved with my end result, and I have to remind myself that. My muse, her name is Jen, and I'm making all of my content for Jen. So when I'm feeling discouraged, I think about Jen. I think about how my content is helping her and how maybe that one video flopped. Jen doesn't care.
So whenever I feel discouraged about low views or low progress, I remember that there's only so many things you can control, and a lot of it has to do with things that you can't control. For example, I can't control how the market responds to my video, but I can control the quantity of videos I make, the quality of, how proud I am. So in honesty, like, to give you guys a peace of mind, you have to, as hard as it sounds, only write down the things that you can control and focus on those things and let everything else be up to the market and truly patience. So that is how I deal with frustration. I just list out what I can control and what I can't.
So oftentimes as content creators, we get discouraged because it's just a lot of work, right? So how do we keep going when we are demotivated? Well, for me, I have to look back and remember about why I'm doing this in the first place. And oftentimes I go back into my Gmail where I have a folder of all the people who have left a comment or have said thank you for something that I've created. I even have a lot of thank you notes that I've received over time from people who have visited my blog or watched my YouTube channel or listened to my podcast. And so when I'm down and I'm just not feeling the energy, I always go back to, well, who is this for anyway? And how might I be able to help them? And that always encourages me because, it's not about me, right? It's about the audience that we are helping and those who we are serving.
So I remember starting my channel, and it was something I had a full-time job that wasn't making me any money. That was my first business I started, and we were teetering on bankruptcy. I was working 80 hours, 70 hours a week. I mean, it was crazy. And it really came down to, I focused in on a simple goal of, okay, I'm going to wake up early and I'm going to film these videos. I filmed them in the basement of my house, and dirt floor, old house, 110 years old. And I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. But I thought about, hey, I've got my wife, I had my young son, my baby daughter at the time. And it was just something I knew if I put in the reps, I didn't know if my channel would be successful, but I knew that it would help me in a number of other ways. Making those videos allowed me to be able to talk with potential customers better because I better learned the information. I had studied and I knew this information and the data better than most. So what kept me going? I think, just knowing what I was fighting for, and it was fighting for a better future. I didn't grow up with money. I didn't grow up with means. So I knew that if I was going to break through, it was going to be, by the sweat of my own brow.